guys, this is Charlie, and today we're reading Chapter 4 of Sleepover Sleuths by Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew. It's called Cake to Case. Let's start reading. What happened to Hollywood Heather? Nancy asked. All the girls were wide awake now. They were sitting on their sleeping bags and staring at the window. That's funny, George said. I went to the bathroom at 6:45 this morning. When I came back, the doll was on the windowsill. How do you know it was 6:45? Bess asked. I looked at the clock before I fell back to sleep, George explained. Did anyone see what happened to my doll? Deirdre cried out. All heads shook back and forth. Then help me find her, Deirdre pleaded. Nancy scrambled to stand up. She could see that one of the sleeping bags was empty. The basketball design on the bag told her it belonged to Trina. Hey, what happened? A voice asked. Nancy turned. She saw Trina walk into the room. Nancy's eyes widened when Madison told her about the missing doll. Look everywhere, Deirdre instructed. If you find Hollywood Heather, yell at the top of your lungs. The girls searched the room for Hollywood Heather. They looked under tables, behind bookcases, even under sleeping bags. Nancy was about to look near the window when she saw Cassidy. The little girl sat on top of her sleeping bag. She clutched a yellow and red backpack. The outside flap had a picture of the cartoon character, Artie the Aardvark, on it. Why isn't she looking for the doll? Nancy wondered. Tell your mom and dad, Deirdre, Kendra said. Maybe they can help us look. I can't, Deirdre said. I promised I'd take extra good of Hollywood Heather. It's just a doll, Trina said. Just a doll? Trina gasped. Is the Statue of Liberty just a statue? Is the Great Wall of China just a wall? Is Johnny Appleseed just an apple? He's not an apple, Andrea said slowly. I think he planted apple trees or something. Whatever, Deirdre cried. The girls looked for Hollywood Heather for half an hour, but she was nowhere to be found. If anyone in this room took Hollywood Heather, Deirdre said, tell me now. The room was silent. Then Mrs. Shannon opened the basement door at the top of the stairs and called, Girls, breakfast is ready. They quietly climbed the stairs. Cassidy was still holding her Artie the Aardvark backpack. Why is she bringing her backpack to breakfast? Nancy wondered. Upstairs, everyone sat down at the Shannons' dining room table. Mr. and Mrs. Shannon served scrambled eggs with whole wheat toast. Nancy looked around the table as she ate. Deirdre was picking at her eggs with her fork. Her best friend Madison was pretty quiet too. Nancy reached for her strawberry jam. She noticed that Cassidy was leaning over her backpack as she ate. Bess, George, Nancy whispered. Do you think maybe Cassidy took Hollywood Heather? Why do you say that? Bess asked. Cassidy won't let go of her backpack, Nancy said quietly. And she is sort of a pest, George finished. After breakfast, the girls went into the basement to collect their gear. Madison, Deirdre asked her best friend, can you stay and help me look for Hollywood Heather? Can't, Madison said quickly. I have to go home and clean my room. Deirdre frowned as Madison left the basement. When most of the other girls were gone, she looked sadder than ever. Don't worry, Deirdre, Nancy said. Maybe the person who took Hollywood Heather will give her back soon. Sure, Bess said cheerily. Nancy even thinks she knows who took her. Bess! Nancy hissed. Please tell me, Nancy, Deirdre said, shaking Nancy's arm. Who do you think took Hollywood Heather? I don't know for sure, Nancy said, so I don't want to say anything. Deirdre looked disappointed. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. I have a superific idea, Deirdre said. Why don't you find the person who took Hollywood Heather? Me? Nancy asked. You found the hidden goodie bag? Deirdre asked. And you're great at guessing things, Nancy. You always guess the school lunch. You even guessed Marshmallow's name, Bess said. Yes, Nancy said, but... Come on, Nancy, George urged. Don't you want to solve a real-life mystery? You can be like a detective, Beth said. A detective? I am pretty good at finding things and guessing things, Nancy thought. I do like reading mystery books and watching mystery shows on TV with Daddy. So maybe solving a mystery would be fun. Way fun. I can try, Nancy said. But I don't want to do it alone. Does anyone want to help? Bess and George's hands flew up. I would if I could, Deidre said. But I have to practice my tap gymnastics and my recipe for Junior Chefs of America Club today. Do you think you know who took your doll, Deidre? Nancy asked. Deidre nodded. Trina was the only one who could reach the window, she said. And she came into the basement after the doll was missing. She was probably stuffing Hollywood Heather into her stinky gym bag. But Trina is your friend, Nancy said. Not your best friend like Madison, but still your friend. Maybe she wanted Hollywood Heather more than she wanted to be my friend, Deidre sighed. Nancy, Bess, and George stared at Deidre as she left the basement. Wow, George said. She's totally upset. I'm totally psyched, Bess said. We're going to solve a real-life mystery, you guys. The three friends high-fived. Now that we're detectives, Nancy said, where do we start? Don't ask me, George laughed. I don't have a clue. Clue? Clue, Nancy exclaimed. That's it. The first thing we do is look for clues. Let's check the windowsill, Bess said. That's the last place Hollywood Heather was before she disappeared. They hurried to the window. It is high, George said. How would a little kid like Cassie reach the doll? Nancy pointed to a bench nearby. She could have climbed on that, she said. The bench wasn't very heavy. The three girls moved it under the window. Then they all climbed on it. Nancy checked the window to make sure it was locked. It was. Next, she ran her hand along the windowsill. Instead of dust, there was some soft white fuzz all over it. Maybe it came from Hollywood Heather's poncho, Bess said. The wool was soft and fuzzy, too. It was also green, Bess said. This stuff is white. Then what is it? Bess said. Nancy examined the wispy fuzz. I don't know, she said, but I think we just found our first clue. Chapter 5 is Clue Times Clue. Clue times 2. That's it. Chapter 5 is called Clue Times 2. I already told you that. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and click the bell. Keep reading and keep dreaming. I'll see you guys in the next video.